Stuart Rogel's here from the Tampa Bay Partnership, and we're going to talk about Regional Business Plan for Tampa Bay. Welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. And before this group, it's a very incredible collection of leadership in Manatee County, and my pleasure to be here. My name is Stuart Rogel, and I'm President and CEO of the Tampa Bay Partnership. Let me talk about this regional business plan that we've been working on. And what we have been working on is asking the question at a regional level, and how many of you might know this in your own communities, but where will the jobs of tomorrow come from? We talked about how the economy of Florida is different and is changing. So where are the jobs going to come from? What do we need to do? What does this region and what do our communities here in the region need to do to grow those jobs? And how do we engage in this effort? How do we make sure we're all working together? This isn't one person standing at a podium or one organization saying, we're going to do all this together. It's really understanding where are the job opportunities, what kind of industries, what kind of businesses are going to grow based upon historical precedent, businesses that are here now, and where do we think they're going to grow, and what kind of jobs are those going to be, what kind of employees do they need, and what do we need to do at the government level, at the business level, at the community level to be able to create those jobs and get this economy back going. So we've been looking at this. We started talking about this and working on this in 2008 at the Tampa Bay Partnership. We were fortunate to secure funding from the Economic Development Administration, matched by the workforce boards and the economic development organizations. Each community contributed $15,000 worth of matching funds. We were able to leverage that up over 8 counties and then go to the Economic Development Administration and secure a $500,000 fund to conduct this research. And every community in the Tampa Bay region, in the 8 counties of Tampa Bay, now has this research and is able to participate and benefit from it. We worked with a group called SRI, which stands for the Stanford Research Institute. Now, it's headquartered in Menlo Park, but they have offices right here in St. Petersburg and in other places, and they've done this kind of work for a number of different communities around the country, including 4 different communities around the state of Florida. We started the research last year, and we're at the point right now where we're receiving that research. We're sharing this with groups like yourself, and the implementation, the starting point for this is just beginning, is how do we take that research and do something about it. We know that if we're going to grow, we need to build an economic ecosystem. We can't look at one thing. There's not one size that fits all, but we've got to focus on a number of different things that are going to create jobs and grow the workforce of the future. And that's the work that this research has done. We looked at a number of different factors to say what target sectors are going to grow in Tampa Bay. And in fact, we produced individual county reports, which we'd be happy to share with you. I brought a few copies today, but certainly we can make copies available to you if you want to see what it says about Manatee County and how Manatee County fits with these target sectors and what their opportunities are. It's also out on our website at tampabay.org, but we wanted to look and see at a regional level what clusters were going to grow, and then at a local level, how did each one of the communities match up with that? Because we wanted to make sure that there was benefit and there were companies in each community that could see the growth and could participate. Remember, I talked about that inclusive growth and that everybody needs to participate. Well, this is what we've done here. Is we've looked at target sectors and said high wage, high value, high potential for growth, where are they? And they are 4 of them: applied medicine and human performance, high-tech electronics and instruments, marine and environmental activities, and business, financial, and data services. Now, if we got on a plane and went and looked at a number of different communities around the country, we would identify, and probably a lot of communities would say, well, we're interested in medicine and biotech, and yeah, we'd like high-tech electronics and instruments, and we would like business and financial and data services, and maybe not on the marine side, but everybody wants to talk about environmental activities and renewables. So we challenged SRI to say, how can we be first and best? Where can we differentiate ourselves in these 4 clusters? And I'm not going to drive into detail. The detail is in the report, both in this executive summary that I've shared with you today on the business plan, but also in volumes of information that tells us specifically how can we be first and best. But let me give you one example which I think relates very nicely. Let's look at applied medicine and human performance. And let's specifically look at health and some of the research that's being done around health and health care. Manatee Memorial Hospital is a facility that provides first-class health care and has partnered up with a number of different organizations up and down throughout the region, throughout the state, to improve that health care. What if we married that with this idea of great destinations? Anna Maria Island, Longboat Key, places that we love and we enjoy, or the beaches in St. Petersburg, or elsewhere where we have great destinations. Where but in Florida do we serve the visitor better than here in this region? How do we marry that with health care and with tourism to create a destination medicine opportunity to support two industries that are very vital and very important to our community? Or, for example, the work that's being done at IMG, where some of the greatest athletes in the world just down the street here are being trained and are being housed and are doing incredible things. And I know IMG is looking at the whole idea of human performance. How can they apply some of those skills to say, how do we work with our elderly population to provide a better environment, greater human performance, not just at the highest athletic level, but for people of all ages? So how do we make those, connect those dots and make those marriages between these different businesses to say, that's where we can be first and best? Those are two examples of where we can be first and best. And the report is covered throughout in examples of how we can be first and best in those four target sectors, and what can we do to connect up and to be able to grow the jobs of the future. We also looked at a number of what are called foundational recommendations. These are things that we in economic development think about all the time, but some suggestions that SRI gave us about how we need to work on growing those jobs, what kind of infrastructure. And those of you who have economic development activities, these are things to think about. One of the things that was suggested is that we need to promote ourselves as an innovative, integrated regional economy, that we're competing in a global market. I said we're the 14th largest market in the country, and our competition is not just Atlanta, Charlotte, Dallas, and Raleigh-Durham, but it's all around the world. How can we take that strength, those targeted sectors, and how can we say we can work together if we promote ourselves as 4 million people? And how can we really create that? We do a great job of marketing place. We do a great job of saying, this is a great place. Florida's a great place to come, and our town, our community, our beach is the best beach of all. But how do we market this as an integrative economy so we can compete in the world? How can we also strengthen business retention and expansion? All the four sectors I talked about, those are not those which we'd like to bring here. Those are jobs and industries and businesses that are here today. And how can we help support those jobs and businesses and industries that exist today? How can we retain them, and how can we expand the jobs? Because like any other business, your best customer is the one you have, and that's the one you want to keep. And if you can do that, that's a lot more effective than going out and finding new customers. Well, we want to find more new customers as well. We want to expand our markets, but we want to work harder to retain and expand the businesses that exist regionally. And finally, and this is something that Florida hasn't had to do as well as other communities, as well as in Austin, Texas, or a Silicon Valley, or a Raleigh-Durham research triangle. But we have the potential to do that, and the consultants and the team identified that. How do we create this concept of innovation and entrepreneur ecosystem, a system that supports and fosters innovation and entrepreneurship? How do we get more incubators, and how do we connect the incubators around the region so they're working together? How do we secure funding, which is critical for every business across any spectrum, whether it's manufacturing, construction, people doing business internationally in places like Germany or the United Kingdom or Canada? How do they get the financing to be able to expand their business? So how do we create that entrepreneurial system, that innovation system, and how can we work on those foundational recommendations? And finally, I haven't spent a lot of time on it, but we looked at the industries, and we also looked at the workforce needs, and we identified the strengths and the gaps that we have in workforce. And there's much we can do to connect our workforce system with our businesses. There's a lot we can do to improve the communication and understand these target industries and what they need, and be able to tie that with the workforce system that delivers qualified employees to those businesses. There's an opportunity to talk about the job opportunities, the career ladders, the opportunities that exist in these industries. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't even have to be a doctor to be in applied medicine and human performance, but you can see a ladder of opportunity to be involved in medicine and healthcare. How do we foster those ladders and create opportunities within the businesses in those targeted sectors? And then how do we collaborate more effectively with our educational institutions so that we can have a seamless effort in supporting workforce and improve the workforce skills and the workforce talent pool that exists in our region. So next step is implementation, and this little chart shows that we have more work to do to reach out to those 4 targeted sectors that I identified up at the top, get specific feedback as to what they think about this work and what they would like us to work on, identify initiatives, which the consultants have provided us with some 60 initiatives, but we can't do them all at one time, so we need to pick those that are most important to the businesses that we're trying to serve. How do we take those target sector initiatives, how do we combine them with those 3 foundational or economic development initiatives and those 3 workforce initiatives to start to do things? Outcomes of this output will be public policy that we might be back to you at the local level to consider, or at the state level, or at the federal level. But there are also going to be things like, how do we get more financing? How do we bring the venture capital organizations in the region together to be able to secure more financing? Or how do we bring the incubators together? Or how do we help businesses connect, just simply connect with each other so that they don't have to go 1,500 miles for a supplier or a customer. They might be able to go right down to Bradenton or Palmetto because the best customer is right there. So how do we make sure we make those connections between businesses in the region? How can you help? Well, a couple things. In your packet is a form that says participate, educate, and collaborate. And it's really a sign-up form. If you think you'd like to learn more, or you think there's a group or an organization or would like to have a discussion about this, please let us know. You can call us, you can send this to us, or you can email me at srogel@tampabay.org, and we'll make sure we get out there and have a conversation with you and work with you and connect with that organization that you or business that you think is important and needs to know. And additionally, we'd like you all to consider at a later date, consider a resolution of support in support of the regional business plan. And that helps us immensely to know that local governments, county governments, and others are behind this effort and that we're all working together. Because again, as I said, we're not going to be successful just because 1 or 2 of us worked together and came and spoke to you, but because we're all working together. We all understand where the jobs of the future are going to be, what the workforce needs of the future are, what our role is, and how we can help make that happen, and how we can get this economy back together. So it's a team effort, and we hope you'll be part of the team. And that's a picture that a person in my office took of their daughter who was looking at one of the redwood trees and said the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time to plant a tree is today, and we think today has arrived. So thank you very much for your time and opportunity.